Warm greetings to everyone. My name is Sumati, Assistant Professor of English in the Department of Science and Humanities. I am very much elated to deliver a session for all the English learners. The subject of my talk is on the topic reported speech. Yes, let's learn English. One language sets you in, a corridor for life. Two languages open every door along the way, says Frank Smith. English is an international language. Its role is essential, significant, and vital for better understanding and wider communication. It will surely help us to brave the challenges of a new millennium. The COVID pandemic has provided all of us with an opportunity to pave way for digital learning. Welcome to my session on the topic reported speech. There are two ways to report what someone has said or spoken. Based on that, today's session will focus on direct speech, indirect speech, and certain general rules associated with that. The main objectives is to understand narration in English grammar, why is narration used, and some rules related to this narration. Now let's see what is narration. Narration in writing or speech is the process of giving an account of a sequence of events, real or imagined storytelling. The person who recounts the events is called as a narrator. The account itself is narrator. There are two ways to report what someone has said or spoken. One is by using the exact words of the speaker without any change, which is called as direct speech, and these words are placed within single inverted commas or double inverted commas. The other way to report what the speaker has said is that we use only the speaker's thoughts and ideas and we report them using our own words. This way of reporting is called indirect speech or reported speech. There are different ways to report statements, questions, imperatives and exclamatory sentences which we must thoroughly learn to be good reporters and effective communicators. Let's take these two examples. In the first example, we are able to understand that the exact words of the speaker are placed within inverted commas. It is said to be direct speech. In the second example, we are able to see that the essence of what the speaker has said is reported by grammatically modifying the speaker's actual words slightly. It is said to be indirect speech. There are certain rules to be followed while converting a direct speech into indirect speech. Rule 1. When the introductory verb say, tell, inform, state, claim is in the present verb, present perfect or future tense, no change in tense or adverbs of time and place is necessary. That is explained with an example. He says, I don't understand this question. The introductory verb is in the present tense. Which is the introductory verb here? Says. So when we are converting this into the reported speech, the example shows that he says that he doesn't understand this question. So there is no change in the reporting verb as well as the introductory verb. This is the first rule for converting a direct to indirect speech. Secondly, if the reporting verb in the direct speech is in the past tense, the tenses in the reported speech are also changed into the past tense. This is also beautifully explained with an example. He said, I don't understand this question. In the indirect speech, we are able to understand that the inverted commas are removed. He said that he didn't understand that question. So said is in the past tense. So it is directly changed into past tense in the indirect speech, and don't is changed into didn't as past tense. So this is the second rule for converting a direct to indirect speech. Helps us to understand how tenses change when we convert a direct speech into indirect speech. Simple present tense of direct speech will be converted as simple past in indirect speech. Present progressive tense of direct speech will be converted as past progressive tense in indirect speech. Present perfect tense of direct speech will be converted as past perfect in indirect speech. Present perfect continuous tense will be converted as past perfect continuous tense in indirect speech. So this slide describes some commonly used expressions denoting time, place, adverbs. In direct speech, if you come across the word yesterday, in reported speech it becomes as the day before. In direct speech, if you come across the word tomorrow, becomes the next day, a following day in reported speech. The next week or next day will become as following day. Today will become as that day. Here will become as there. This will become as that. Tonight will become as that night. 2 months ago will become as 2 months before. Next Sunday will become as the following Sunday. These are some of the changes in words denoting time, nearness and adverbs. When converting imperative sentence into reported speech, keep in mind all the points discussed earlier in the slides regarding tenses, pronouns and words denoting nearness in time, place and adverbs. So besides those points, we have to keep three important rules while converting an imperative sentence. Instead of using the reporting verb said, use one of the reporting verbs that reflect the purpose, mood and manner of the speaker. For example, we can say advised, requested, commanded, order, forbid, persuade, instructed, begged instead of the word said. Secondly, we can use the to infinitive. So here in this example, you are able to understand that in the direct speech it is given as he said go home. And when you are converting this, we are able to understand that it has been told that he told me to go home and infinitive is used here. So in changes of imperative, commands, warnings, request, it is essential that we have to use the to infinitive. But it depends upon the mood of the speaker. Stay in bed for a few days, the doctor said to me. So the doctor told me to stay in bed for a few days. So we are able to identify the to here. Then don't shout, I said to Jim. I told Jim. What is the word infinitive used here? It is to. So these are certain rules that have to be kept in mind while changing an imperative sentence, that is commands, warnings, requests, into indirect speech. This slide helps us to understand how an interrogative sentence is changed into reported speech, and certain rules are to be followed while converting a question into indirect speech. Questions which can be answered are of two types. One is yes or no question and second one is WH questions. So when we are converting WH questions into indirect speech, we remove the quotation marks and use reporting verbs like inquired, asked, question, everything. And when the object of the reporting verb is said or asked, we can use inquired. And we do not use question mark in the reported speech. This means that the question in the direct speech becomes statement in the reported speech. So now look at the example. This is direct speech. The question is, he asked me, do you find law interesting? So in the indirect speech, we are able to see there is a reported speech. We are able to see question mark is removed, quotation is removed, and this ask me can be used, question me or inquire me also can be used. But since this question is, he asked me, do you find a law interesting? What will be your answer? Yes or no? If yes or no becomes your answer, when you are converting this into a reported speech, you have to use the conjunction if. That is shown here. He asked me if I found law interesting. Before concluding, reporting the speaker's thought doesn't mean reporting them mechanically word for word. The reporting has to be natural, using appropriate linking words, conjunctions, with an eye on the speaker's intention in using those words. This is why the interpreter's job is the most difficult. It is an important skill to be acquired. Besides keeping in mind the guidelines for reporting, the reporter must pay equal attention to the use of appropriate reporting verbs, replacing the reporting verbs that is used in direct speech at the time of reporting. So with this, I am winding up the session, and thank you for attending the session, and happy learning.